Oh, good morning, AKAPADers. We have disappointment today. No, it's not about the new Superman movie dropping on digital by the end of this month. It's Superman issue 79. Fucking hell. Let's focus this. Good morning, AKAPADers. Reign of the Superman. Exclamation point. See, you're supposed to yell it because there's an exclamation point. Superman issue 79, July 1993. I intended to bring you this in July just because this issue means a lot to me. But it's of the Triangle era, which we've been discussing recently. This is 18 of this run of 1993. So the Triangle era is almost broken down within volumes, same as like magazines. Every year kind of triggers a new volume of that magazine. But we have Dane Jurgens, we have Britt Breeden. We also, and no one really points this out, and I got one other example I'm going to show you guys real quick. During this era, like, I love how they corrupted the Superman shield to tag which Superman was associated with each Superman book, because we had 4 books, 4 separate Supermen, hence the reign of the Superman. And the other cool one is this one, the one for Superboy, where it's all yellow and it has stitching. Because the back of his jacket, focus right there, please. The back of his jacket, he's supposed to have the Superman shield stitched. Dane Jurgens and Britt Breeden. Before we crack this open, we have to talk about Britt Breeden. There's something of note here, and too many. I just see too many people they always bring up Jurgens during this era, and they really don't group him with Britt Breeden. There was a mutual separation of labor and respect for these two guys to be monthly, but also high frequency in production. So much so, we can kind of see they have somewhat equal billing. You know, like it is Jurgens' book, he's spearheading it. But, right, the fonts are equal, even in the signature. Jurgens is above. Breeding is slightly, the kerning for breeding is slightly to the left. But, you know, like a lot of times for Hollywood movie posters, this type of billing gets negotiated. Like to exactly how big some of the letters are for the actor, so on and so forth. Britt Breeden and Dane Jurgens, they were coagulated together during this time. It is what I believe to be the golden era of Mr. Jurgens with the help of Britt Breeden. Do we have to remind ourselves who Mr. Jurgens is? So recently, during that two long box epic comic book haul that I've been trickling onto YouTube, those videos, I just been dissecting what I bought during that haul. During that time, my friend and I, Mark, we dug through dozens and dozens and dozens of comic book boxes. But I was targeting Booster Gold in the hopes of bringing Booster Gold a little bit into the limelight during Superman Fantastic Four month, because I knew we would be talking about Dane Jurgens. And lo and behold, I don't get number 1, but I get issue 25 here, Dane Jurgens creator. 25, he's really becoming Dane Jurgens by this point, but it's also one of the most, I believe, hacked covers in comic book history. And it's Millennium Week 7, and that's been on my long list to get all of these, to bring these to you guys. But we have Jurgens working on Superman here. For issue 7, issue 20. Like, these are almost 2 years apart. And Jurgens really was the guy behind Booster Gold. The way he used Booster Gold was very similar to how they used Superboy to go into the Legion of Superheroes, which was a future DC. Booster Gold went back in time. And in contrast, you had Booster Gold, and then you had Cable from the X-Men. These were both future soldiers, but we got, like this very lighthearted, fish out of water, but universe-wide adventurer, meaning everyone kind of, like there wasn't anyone that Booster Gold could not interact with. But his best interactions were the more powerful characters, or the guys like Superman, because Superman is legendary in Booster Gold's timeline. So these two issues being essentially 2 years apart, and just seeing the evolution of Mr. Jurgens, and we kind of collapse again, like a crest crashing onto the shore, or like a wave crest crashing onto the shore. We get that type of crash here, where Jurgens has become architect. He's one of the architects of this era. We can argue this is the just universally accepted greatest era of Superman. Every single month there was something exciting, and here he gives us, oh my god. So I've read this so many times. I've been reading this since I was a kid, since I first bought this, because every time I read it, I want to pull something positive out. And I just want to flip through this. I mean, these god-awful, ugly, green, rounded corner panels here. Caption panels. But we see, like, Cyborg Superman, he fights some terrorists. Nuke some dudes. But this is a reporter that's kind of trying to pick up over Clark Kent. Clark Kent has disappeared now, right? Death of Superman also means the disappearance of Clark Kent. So that's the era. We've killed Superman. We've replaced him with 4 other individuals right here. Like, see? Like, they're teasing Steel here. But yeah, they swap one of the adventures of title, right? Become Superboy. Tom Grummett here, like, killing it. Pound for pound, Grummett really was the premier illustrator of all of these guys. Right? Like, there's nothing he drew incorrect. So we have this era where there's heightened attention, there's all-time sales. But there's also deadlines, and we gotta get books done. So we have Jurgens here. Words and Pictures, Brett Breeding, is on Finished Art. So Mike Harlan here. We gotta put the weight on Mike Harlan for just signing off on the look of this. So we're getting more eyeballs in Superman now than ever before, just within like the world of comics. And people are reading these because they're trying to figure out which of these 4 Supermen is the real deal. So this dude, like, he writes an article. He writes about how inspirational Clark Kent's writing was to him. Talks about Kent's hometown. And then we look, writer of the year, Clark Kent. So we roll into the article that he's writing. And he writes this article about the era. We have the Eradicator, Superman. We have the Steel, Superboy, and Cyborg. One of these 4. Now, we got to put ourselves in the time and the place that we're reading this. One of these 4 is Superman. And or they're highly connected to him in the way that is yet to be revealed. With the Man of Steel, number 1 previously, we talked about the origin of this guy, the Eradicator Superman. This guy was cool. He's got the Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man visor on. Superboy, So even during this time, I just think everyone leaned towards Cyborg. People just wanted the Cyborg Superman somehow to be the one that fought Doomsday. So it's a confusing time. And then kind of like out of nowhere, the White House gets raided and attacked by terrorists. Clear inside job. So during all of this, Superman comes to save the day. And the whole point of this article is this, like, somewhat truthful, accurate, Clark Kent-esque journalist trying to find the truth. So he's describing this whole day, how the terrorists got into the White House, what they were trying to do when they got there. Again, nothing that really bleeds into other Superman story elements. All of that is self-contained. But then, like, Superman shows up, and he's kind of like all gas. He's all business. Right here, we give full credit to Walt Simonson for this type of energy effect. Everyone kind of, like, in this era, I feel like, did their own version of some of Simonson's Thor work at the time. But Jurgens' contribution to that, he did these energy squiggle line laser beams, and he does this throughout all of Superman. It's pretty effective. It's very comic booky. And, people always talk about the Kirby crackle, but they don't talk about, again, like, the Simonson, like, energy splash, or they don't talk about the Jurgens energy beam squiggle. I don't know what you call this. So he shows up, and he talks about, like, just how the metal around him. And this is, like, the cool part, where it just seems to, like, live and breathe and form around Superman. And you kind of want to say the best way to demonstrate what he's describing, is like a $400 million movie to, like, really animate this. And it just reminds me of Shockwave from Transformers Dark of the Moon, where that supposedly had 80,000 moving parts, and those Shockwave scenes took 72 hours to render per frame. So it took months just to render those sequences. But yeah, Superman's in the White House now. We see that he's somewhat, right? He's compromised the system, and this is what I was looking for. This is why we not only read comics, we reread the same comics for our entire lives, cause help me help it make sense. And you know what this reminds me of? You guys know it's coming. Give me 1 second here. 1 second. If we get into the Watchmen, the kid, right? The kid that's reading the Black Freighter. Right? The Black Freighter. In this comic, the news guy, he right before, like, everything goes, like, to SHIT, he asks the kid, he's like, kid, like, why do you keep reading the pirate comic, right? Like why do you keep reading the pirate comic? And the kid's like, I'm trying to make it make sense. Because it makes no sense. Well, I've read this enough to pull out one true golden nugget. And it's a plot point that it isn't really later explored. We got gold, Jerry. Gold. Cyborg Superman tentacles into the White House's database. And because of that, he gets into the entire U.S. government's database. So he quickly learns everything that the U.S. government knows. Right here, too. See, the reign of the Superman is upon us. This one here teases that the Eradicator Superman is the one. This is very Ozymandias too, by the way. A lot of Watchmen in this. He downloads all of human knowledge. Identifies a bomb. Eradicates the bomb. Like turns it into a pile of goo. And then essentially, he handed it over saying it was a personal communications device. So he breaks off a piece of himself, gives it to Mr. Bill Clinton here. And you go, and here, Superman has returned, proving himself to us all over again. Clark Kent cannot return, so others must take his place. So Clark Kent's here. This is the new Clark Kent. Also, this is a character as a supporting character. Not really utilized the best, because the later eras would more and more ignore this. Like, that was the weird thing. But at the same time, we have a somewhat of a like credible character within the Superman world at this point, proclaiming that Cyborg is Superman, while replacing Clark Kent and getting his chops from Perry White over here. Some people might call him Perry Black at this point, right? That's a bad joke. So the takeaway is that the Cyborg Superman knows he knows everything. So I was always disappointed. I always disliked this issue over the power of the cover versus the CHRAP. Did I spell that right? The crap of the interior. Magnificent cover, crap interior, but with one just nugget of awesomeness. Clearly one of my most frustrating reads of all time. And I wasn't even expecting to make that Watchmen reference. But, we spin it here, guys. All right. Rock and Roll Superman 1993 issue 79. Let's go.